powers are legendary. Their origins are unknown. Their methods are extreme.
And the game is on.
LXG, the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen.
The Week 8 Pick'em Show. My first preview is going to be Yay Boys in Spandex versus the Barbarians. With original projected score of 82-65, this is supposed to be an easy win for Craig. But as of Thursday, it's already getting closer, as he only got 3 points from Jarvis Landry, and Tree got 14 points from the dark horse Alex Collins, who keeps getting a little more and more work each week. Going into Sunday, Craig has Phillip Rivers going to New England, which the New England defense, albeit last week looked okay against Matt Ryan, I still don't think they're that good, and I think Phillip Rivers will do just fine. He has Antonio Brown going to Detroit, which again, should be just fine. And he has Devontae Freeman going to the New York Jets, which again, should be just fine. So his three main pieces of his championship hopes are all going to be okay this week. I don't think any of them are going to go crazy, but I think they're all going to do what they're supposed to do. And I do believe they're going to do enough to hold on to the win and get Craig the win. But I think it's going to be a little closer than the projections are saying, because he does have Seattle versus Houston as his defense, and I don't think Watson's just going to show up and fall on his face. I'm pretty sure Deshaun Watson's going to come out. He's going to play some ball. Then on the opposite side, Tree's going to have Tyler Kroft going against Indianapolis, which was a nice pickup this week, I think. And I think that's going to treat her well. She has New Orleans defense, which she also picked up this week versus Chicago at home, which also should do really good. Her main problem is, of course, she has three wide receivers that probably aren't going to do much. Torrey Smith, Laquan Treadwell, Travis Benjamin. This is not a fear-inducing trio of wide receivers. That being said, I do think that two of her wide receivers will pop. I don't want to say anything crazy. Let's say they'll break 10 points, while Craig's receiver, Ted Ginn Jr., who has been booming a lot the last couple weeks, this week when he goes versus Chicago, he will not boom. He will bust, and two of Tree's wide receivers will boom. That being said, I'm still taking Craig for the win. And my call now is that Joe Mixon will outscore Alvin Kamara, who Craig has in his starting lineup, over Joe Mixon.
Okay, boys and girls, it's time for the Week 8 recap show of the Fantasy League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. If you guys have been following the picks, Jeremy's kicking butt. He's really just blowing us all away with his picks this year. But I gotta say, it was nice to see a couple new people put in their picks this week. So thanks to Tree and also to Neil for getting involved there. And I encourage the rest of you guys to go ahead and make your weekly picks. You do got to make them on Thursday, and you got to do it on the Yahoo Fantasy site. You cannot do it from the app. So get in there and get involved. It's pretty fun, even though Jeremy's kicking a lot of butt. That being said, my first matchup this week is Adamas Llamas going up against Bag of Dickas. Bag of Dickas projected for 83 points this week. His heavy hitters are his running backs, of course. Ezekiel Elliott coming off a huge week last week and going up against Washington. A good interdivision matchup there. And then also Melvin Gordon, whose Chargers are going into New England. So look to be a lot of points in that game. Chargers lean heavily on Gordon, both in the running game, and he's also heavily involved in the passing game. So I like Bagadicka's running backs in this one. He does have a couple players that I'm a little worried about, though. Derek Carr, after having a big Thursday night last week, going into Buffalo. Buffalo's been very good against, even though they keep trading away what seems to be their top defensive players, they got a really good squad. They're really playing hard there for their new coach and new regime. And I'm not sure I'm a believer in Oakland's offense yet, so I'm a little worried about that Derek Carr matchup. And then his trio receivers seem like a bunch of dart throws this week. So you're looking at Zay Jones for Detroit. You're looking at Mohamed Sanu for Atlanta. And then you're also looking at Cole Beasley for Dallas. So you're really looking at some secondary options, maybe even third options on those teams. So really looking to, hit lightning in a bottle there with that trio of receivers. On the Llama side, he really seems to have it clicking on all cylinders here. A lot to like on his side of the matchup. You got Tom Brady against the Chargers. Brady at home looks to be a high-scoring affair there. The Patriots definitely do not take the pedal off the gas, especially at home. So a lot of points there, projected for 21 this week. Also looking at LaShawn McCoy going against the Raiders. Raiders have a really bad defense, and McCoy is the centerpiece of that entire offense. I mean, he averages something like 23 carries a game, in addition to 5 to 6 targets. So you're looking at, Le'Veon Bell type of opportunity there. So I like McCoy this week. I also like, of course, he's got Zach Ertz, best tight end in fantasy football right now, and a guy who I think goes off maybe in a sneaky shootout this week. That Carolina game against Tampa Bay, I really like Tampa Bay's number one receiver in this one. Mike Evans looks to have a good game. So I think with Mike Evans and also Zach Ertz, I think that tips the scales in Llama's favor. So Llamas are currently favored to win 104-83, and I think that holds true. So Llamas move on to victory at the expense of Bag of Dickas here in Week 8.
My next matchup is going to be the Chicago Bears versus Kneecaps. With a projected score of 72 to 80 points, should be fairly close. In this game, we have Russell Wilson going for Kristen at home versus Houston. And I know you think Houston has a good defense, and they've had for quite a few years, but this year, it's not the case. And I do think Russell Wilson's going to have a really good day, put up over 20 points. And then she also has Thielen at Cleveland, was actually at London. And I think he's going to get some work, as he always done every week this year. He's going to do well. And the big swing for this whole matchup is going to be the Seattle-Houston game, as Kristen has Thomas Rawls and Lamar Miller both going in that game. So I think, I picked Kristen, so you can tell how I think. I think one or both of them is going to have a good day and going to get enough points to get Kristen the win over Neil. While Neil does have, LeGarrette Blount versus San Francisco, which could go one of two ways. It's a three-headed monster in Philly. Maybe they get up big and they give Smallwood and his sensitive knee some time off, and they just run Blount for the whole third and fourth quarter, or they just ride Wendell Smallwood the whole day. I mean, it's really hard to tell. So it's hard to gauge where it's going to go. He has Tavius Murray, which had a really good week last week after 2 weeks of not doing much. And this week he's going to Cleveland, again, London. But Cleveland does have a good run defense. They don't have a good run offense, but they have a great run defense, and they're actually top 5 in the league right now. So I don't think that Tavius Murray is going to have a great game either. And then he does have the Philly defense versus San Francisco at home, which is the one thing that might be the wild card, depending on what happens there. The Philadelphia did have some injuries last week to their defense, and San Francisco has actually been playing most of their games really, really close. So we'll see how that goes, but that could be a game changer if the Philadelphia Eagles can get a couple of sack strips and get a couple, 1 or 2 maybe, fumble recovery touchdowns, and that could totally turn the tide for Neil. But that's not what I'm calling. I do believe Kristen's team's going to hold on to get the W. My call for this game is that while both of their quarterbacks are projected for 17 points with Russell Wilson and Matt Ryan, and both of their receiving groups are both projected to score 22 points, I believe Kristen will win both of these matchups, with Russell Wilson outscoring Matt Ryan and her 3 wide receivers outscoring Neil's 3 wide receivers as well.
All right, so it has definitely gotten cold here in Chicago. Last 2 days have really felt wintry, 40 degrees, very windy, cloudy, kind of gross kind of days. So that means it's definitely in the midst of football season, but that also means that it's wine season. So for my next matchup here between Carlos and our current leader in the league, OG Billy Witch Doctor, I'm going to sip a little of this Malbec and try and break it down for you here the best that I can. Now, this matchup, very close in the predictions. Carlos looking at 77 on his side. We have OG Billy Witch Doctor after taking his first loss last week, projected for only 79 points this week. So let's break down some of these player matchups and look at what makes this so close. So first of all, Jeremy's got Case Keenum going up against Cleveland. Now, he's only projected for 10 points. I actually like Case Keenum a lot in this spot. I mean, anybody against Cleveland, obviously is a good play. But he's played well for the Vikings, and they might have Stephon Diggs back there. Jerick McKinnon's been a good asset for them. Kyle Rudolph is coming back into the mix, and they have the always reliable Adam Thielen. So I think Case Keenum actually outplays his projection this week by quite a bit, looking maybe 20 points for him. Also, Calvin Benjamin. As I mentioned in the Llamas matchup, I like that game as for a lot of points this week. That could have some shootouts on both sides of the ball. Both defenses not very good. Carolina can't run the ball. So you're looking at, I'm thinking probably an 8 to 10 target week for Calvin Benjamin, going up against a really weak secondary there for Tampa Bay. So I think he hits pay dirt once, maybe even twice. So I like that receiver matchup as well. And then Jordan Reed finally came back into the fold, had a great week last week. I think he continues that trend against Dallas. I think he can pencil Jordan Reed in for 5 to 6 catches, another touchdown, so solid 10, 12 points there. Maybe he breaks a big one for you. So that's what we're looking at on the OG Billy Witch Doctor side of things. Carlos, he's got, again, some questionable receiver matchups. He's got T.Y. Hilton against Cincinnati. Now, the one thing that might save him here in this one is that I think Cincinnati kind of puts this one away early, which probably leads to a passing game script for the Colts. So Jacoby Brissett and T.Y. Hilton could get it going there, but I don't know. I don't like the Colts at all. T.Y. Hilton is tough to trust. Never know when he's going to go off for a big one. They are playing at home where Hilton is much better, so maybe he gets some points there, but I'm not liking that matchup too much. Also, he's playing both New England running backs, which pretty bold move, I guess. I guess if you can't figure out which single running back that Bill Belichick's going to run with, play them all, I guess, is maybe the strategy there. So I don't know. I don't think that's going to equal to a ton of fantasy points. You might have one guy go off, but Belichick shenanigans, it's really hard to tell there. So not liking those matchups too in particular. And then Tyreek Hill going up against Denver. Now, Denver's offense has been terrible of late. They've gotten beat by the Giants. They got shut out by the Chargers last week. But the defense is still pretty solid. Just the fact of the matter that they're on the field a lot. So I don't know. Tyreek Hill in the number one receiver spot, going again into the no-fly zone. I don't like that matchup for Tyreek Hill. One of the big games of the week, I think, along with Tampa Bay and Carolina, that could yield a lot of points is that Washington matchup with the Dallas Cowboys. Now, Dak Prescott had a big week last week. I think he does it again. So that's I think Carlos is hanging his hat on another big week from Prescott, and I think that's what's keeping this matchup close right now. So in a close one, you know what? I went with our current leader, OG Billy Witch Doctor, taking down Carlos 79-77. That's my pick in this Week 8 matchup.
My next preview is Chi-Town Beatdown versus Heinrich Maneuver. Right now, Josh is on a 2-game win streak, and he's starting to get on fire here. And let's see if he can keep it going. In this matchup, we have a projected score of 82-74, favoring Chi-Town Beatdown. And he does have some nice matchups going right now. He has Newton going to Tampa Bay, which he's calling for a big game, and I think he's going to get it. He has Devin Funchess, Michael Thomas, and Amari Cooper going as wide receivers. So as the same way as he drafted them, he's got 3 really nice ones lined up, and it could get really, really dangerous for Ben if a couple of those guys go off. He also has Mark Ingram versus Chicago, which Chicago's defense is better than you think it is. It really is, but it's still New Orleans offense. I still think he'll have a decent enough day. But Tariq Cohen, man, he hasn't really done much since the truth has came out. If you get my drift there, as Trubisky has started, Cohen really hasn't done much, and I don't think he's going to do much this week either. And he does have the Houston defense at Seattle. And as I've said before, early in the show, I don't think that that's going to be a good play. I think Sal's going to have a good day, and I don't think that defense is going to get him any points. On the other side of the ball, Heinrich is going to have Kirk Cousins versus Dallas, which I think is going to be a really nice day for him. He has Des Bryant in the same game going off, and I think that's going to be at least 1 touchdown, if not 2. There are some question marks, of course, on Ben's team, like every week. There's, Emmanuel Sanders. Is he going to play? Is he not going to play? If he doesn't, his backup's Kendall Wright. So that's not very promising, but who knows what's going to happen there. And he still has Mike Gillislee in. I don't know why, but he has him in. I kind of think, I feel like Jamal Charles there on his bench, going back to Kansas City, going back for a little revenge, might be the ticket. And that's what I'm calling for this game. I'm calling that Jamal Charles, who's on his bench right now, will outscore Mike Gillislee this week. He also does have Hunter Henry going to New England as well, which I think is going to be a good play. And if you haven't heard me say good play enough, you should have figured out by now. In this game, I am picking Ben Heinrich and his Heinrich maneuver.
All right, folks, in my final Week 8 matchup, we have Excuses Start Soon going up against the Dirty Slovaks. Slovaks slated to win this one 96-72. This is a good matchup here. These are two people that are close to each other in the standings. Excuses Start Soon coming off a Week 7 win, sitting at 4-3, while the Slovaks sitting at 4-2-1, just a little bit ahead of them in the standings. So this could have some implications as far as playoff seeding and also who makes the playoffs at the end of the season. I don't know, a lot of football to go, but we'll see. But let's get into this here. Excuses Start Soon. Have Drew Brees going against the Chicago Bears. Drew Brees at home, which usually means good things for him, but the Bears defense has been playing well. And also, if you look at the Saints, it's really been their defense and their running game that has turned their season around for them. So while Drew Brees is a good play at home, I'm tempering my expectations a little bit there for him. Also, he's got DeAndre Hopkins going this week, who against any other team would be a great play. But I'm a little worried about the Texans coming back down to earth a little bit, going into Seattle and trying to win one there against the Legion of Boom. But Deshaun Watson has shown he can do anything, so I'm a little iffy on that one. I'm interested in Deshaun Jackson there for Excuses Start Soon. Like I said earlier, I think there's a lot of points scored in that game. Deshaun Jackson's getting about 6-7 targets a game, and all he needs is one chance to break one big. And, if he gets a long one and a touchdown, that could turn into a 15 or 20-point week out of him. Who else? Njoku, the rookie tight end for Cleveland. Could see some garbage time action there. I don't expect them to be able to do much against that Vikings defense in London this week, but you never know what's going to happen there. Could get a garbage time touchdown. Could make him a viable play this week. And Terrell Pryor, rough year for this guy. He was a guy I thought was going to have a really good year, and unfortunately has now lost his starting job to Josh Doctson. Pardon me. Give me a little bit more of this wine. So tempered expectations for the Excuses team this week. Only projected for 72. We'll see how it all shakes out. Now on the Slovak side of things, he's got a quarterback and a receiver tandem that I really, really like this week. Carson Wentz, Alshon Jeffrey going up against San Francisco. Eagles, one of the hottest teams in football. Carson Wentz, one of the hottest quarterbacks in football. Alshon Jeffrey, big free agent acquisition for them. And let's be honest, San Francisco's cornerbacks are terrible. They're on par with Tampa Bay's. So I think you see big things out of their passing game there, and Jeffrey hitting pay dirt for them. Also, he's got two of the most obvious starters. Le'Veon Bell in Detroit. I think this is a big Bell game. I think the Pittsburgh, a little bit of turmoil there with the whole Martavis Bryant thing, benching him this week. And that whole offense runs through Lev Bell and Antonio Brown. So I expect a big game from him, 30-plus touches, 25 rushes, 5 to 6 targets, usual workload for him. And then you got Gronkowski. Gronk playing at home against the Chargers. I think he has a big impact in this game. I think they try to slow it down a little bit in New England as far as maybe a little more power running from them. And once they get down to that red zone, Gillislee has fallen out of favor after scoring 4 touchdowns in the first 3 weeks. First 2 weeks. Hasn't found the end zone yet. So I think Gronk's a good option in the red zone from them. And let's be honest, Gronk is a good option anywhere on the field. So, I think Slovaks get the victory here. They moved to 5-2-1 while taking Excuses down to 500 at 4-4. So those are my picks for this week. If you guys want to get involved, please go do the pick'em. You got to do it before Thursday night's game, and you got to do it on their actual website, not through the app. So adds a little more fun to the mix. Anyway, hope everybody's having a good season. Hope everybody's still enjoying themselves. It's fall, so we're right in the thick of football season, getting ready for that playoff run. Some of you, me, maybe not so much, but yeah. Anyway, that's my Week 8 picks. Hope everybody's having a good time. Hope everybody's having a good fall. Cheers.
All right, guys. My last preview is going to be Nuzzy Futz versus Joski. In this game, we had a projected score of 87-82 favoring the Nuzzy Futz. But then Thursday happened, and 29 points by Baltimore defense happened. And now we have a projected score of 108-81 after the 29 points from Baltimore and only 6 from Kenny Stills. In this matchup, I did pick Joski because I did not think the Baltimore defense was going to go off for 29 points. And now that they have, it might have been a bad call. But let's play this out anyway. So, Aaron has Alex Smith going to Denver. And I know Alex Smith's like a top 2 quarterback this year so far, but he's going to Denver. And it's not going to happen. I don't think it's going to be a good day for him. I think they're going to keep him under 15. He has Hogans and Cooks going to the LA Chargers. At home versus the LA Chargers. And that defense, the pass defense especially, is a lot better than people think it is. They have a really nice pass rush. They have 1 shutdown corner. And the new guy on their side isn't doing too bad either. So again, I don't think Cooks and Hogan are going to have field days. I think they're going to be kept pretty respectable, under 10 points. One of them might get a touchdown. He has Chris Thompson versus Dallas. Chris Thompson's been on fire. But man, those toes. Watch out for those toes. He hurt his toe last week, and I don't think he's going to be in touchdown this week. But we'll see what happens. He also has Jordan Howard at New Orleans. And again, another defense that's better than you think it is. So all these matchups, I just don't know. Again, he has Baltimore's defense for 29 points, so he might not need much more at this point. But his matchups are kind of rough this week. Even his kicker. I love Jack Elliott. I think he's been, again, Josh will he'll yell at me later for talking about kickers. But Jack Elliott's been a great kicker this year. But he's going to San Francisco. Sorry, he's playing versus San Francisco. And this might just be a blowout where it's all touchdowns. And there's no actual field goals, which for a kicker hurts. On the other side of the matchup, Joski, who I picked to win, has some nice matchups going this week. He has AJ Green versus Indianapolis, who I think is at least a one touchdown performance, possibly 2. And he has his whole Detroit squad as usual, and they're going to be going versus Pittsburgh. He's going to have Stafford, Abdullah, Prater, Detroit defense. Again, you think, man, Le'Veon Bell, Ben Roethlisberger, Antonio Brown, this isn't going to work out for him. But all that being said, again, I think Prater's going to get some points. I think the defense, been on the road, maybe throw a pick, maybe give a fumble. And that's what the defense has done all year. They've been making plays, getting turnovers. 1 pick 6, and that's a respectable score on a defense in this league. So I think that's going to work out for him. Again, Stafford and Abdullah, again, the defense for Pittsburgh is really good at home. And they're still good on the road, but not as good because Roethlisberger doesn't move the ball as well on the road, which gives the other team's offense more chances on the field to tire out that defense. And again, I think the Lions will have a good enough day, if it wasn't for 29 points in Baltimore's defense, to get the win. But wait, we'll see what happens. Maybe he can still pull it out. Though he does have Jerick McKinnon at Cleveland. And again, as I said earlier about Tavis Murray, that's not a good matchup for him. This may be a better matchup for Jerick McKinnon because that run defense is better. There might be more outlet passes to the running back, which is Jerick McKinnon's bag of tricks, not Latavius Murray's. And he also has Jimmy Graham versus Houston. Have I said it? This is I think the 4th time I mentioned it. No, 3rd time. Seattle's going to have a good day versus Houston, and Jimmy Graham is going to have a good day at the office. So my call for this game, I got to stay in the flames, got to keep milking it as long as I can milk it. Last week I couldn't do it because he was on bye, but this week I can do it again. My call is that Deshaun Watson will outscore Matthew Stafford, who is currently in Joe's starting lineup. All right, guys, that's going to do it for this week's show. Good luck this weekend. And we'll see you on the other side.